So Nanoleaf at a recent live stream launch event teased a ton of new products, and today I'll be going over their all new blocks that by the end of this video, I can almost guarantee you're going to be blown away by every aspect of what they're able to pull off with this new offering. Opening things up, you have the getting started information with all the instructions. Underneath, you have the first large block that this kit has. The dimensions are about 9 inches by 9 inches by just over 1 inch thick. On the back, you have a total of 8 slots for your connector pieces and a gray colored mounting bracket, all of which I'll be going over in detail. There's an additional 3 more of these large panels before getting to the smaller blocks. These are roughly 4.5 by 4.5 inches by just over 1 inch thick and have 4 connector slots for the attachments and a smaller gray mounting bracket on the back. Next, you have their pegboard square that's made of metal and has the same dimensions as the large blocks. This is definitely heavier than their other panels, and I'll be going over what that means in terms of installation. Then you have a shelf that you can incorporate into the setup if you're wanting to display any of your collectibles or plants or whatever else you might want to showcase. They also include 2 hooks for the pegboard unit, the controller, a 42 volt 1 amp power supply, some mounting hardware meant for the shelf and pegboard, the connector pieces that link the blocks together allowing for power and data to travel from one unit to the next, and finally a bunch of sticky pads. You can also get textured panels like I have here. These are the exact same as the large squares, but the diffuser has a geometric type design with higher and lower points instead of being perfectly flat like the others. So the first point that needs to be discussed is the engineering behind this product. You have the ability to take off the diffuser cover on every block, which is meaningful for a couple reasons. First is that you can swap covers around without having to move the entire unit. They have the textured and flat covers now, but I imagine in the future they could easily come out with new designs and hopefully even a black LED diffuser. Second is that we can easily see what's underneath, and thankfully the LEDs are evenly distributed throughout the entire surface, meaning there should be no hot spots. Furthermore, and what I personally think is one of the smartest mounting designs I've ever seen on a product is this gray bracket that can be separated from the main unit. What's genius about this is you'll put all the sticky pads on the back, but the pull tabs are still accessible, so when it comes time to take things down if you're perhaps moving, or if you want to rebuild a design, or if you're renting, these can easily come off without damaging your wall. Moving on, you have the snap connector pieces that allow you to link everything together in whatever pattern you want. Again, these clips are what allows the power and data to be sent from one panel to the next. I'll put a couple together here so you can get the general idea of how it works. Now it's time to get them added to my setup, and as you can see, I'm running out of room. Ideally, I'd be starting out with a blank slate so I could really get creative with the design, but taking down the dragon scales to make room for these made the most sense. Fortunately, I made the smart decision when putting these up to only use some 3M sticky tape instead of screwing everything in, so it was pretty simple to take them down. So now that I have some free space, I started by putting up one of the large blocks. Make sure to use a level on this first one because it will act as a guide for all the others. Once it's up, this is a great example of the amazing mounting system. I can snap the main unit off, which gives me access to the sticky pads underneath in case I ever wanted to take it down. Getting everything else set up is incredibly fast as you're just adding one block after the other in whatever design you want. I do have 2 separate kits that I'm combining into one in case you're wondering where the extra blocks are coming from, since you can have up to 17 large panels or 60 small squares or a combination of the 2 while only using 1 power supply. And since I know there will definitely be some people that want to max things out, each controller does support up to 500 blocks, but you will definitely need to use more than 1 power unit for larger setups like that. Once everything's looking good, I'll be adding the power and controller, and what I love about this is these 2 things are completely separate. Oftentimes the power and controller are combined into one thing, but here you can put each item wherever you want that makes the most sense. I'm going to be connecting the power all the way on the right hand side so I can hide it behind the cubby, and this can be attached to any of the regular connection slots in the back of the panels. And for the controller, this can go anywhere you want, and for this setup, I'm going to be putting it on the left hand side. So the options are endless on what you can do with the pegboards, and being that they're magnetic, you can get really creative on how you want to attach things. I'm going to keep things simple and move my 2 Elite controllers over here since I think it'll look good against the RGB backdrop. I also recently bought all new real plants since many people hated the fake ones, so I'll get those added as well to brighten things up a little bit. Now before moving on, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Aura. So this is me signing up for their free 14-day trial, and during this setup process, one of the many things they do is scan the internet for data brokers that have your personal information. These data brokers then make a fortune selling your information to spammers, scammers, and other entities that want to know more about you. Now, Aura was able to find 30 such instances of my personal information being in the hands of these companies. Then, with one click, Aura sends out a notice to have my information removed from their systems, which they are legally required to do when asked. Their all-in-one platform offers antivirus protection, credit monitoring, credit lock, financial transaction alerts, secure VPN, identity protection, parental controls, 24/7 US-based customer service, and much, much more. I'll leave a link in the description for you to start your own free 14-day trial, so please make sure to check them out. Thank you all so much, and now back to the video. Now, as far as the pegboards, since these are heavier, Nanoleaf does say you should get these screwed into the wall. I'm personally not worried about things holding, so I won't be doing this, but I still wanted to show you all the process in case you did. You can unscrew the metal frame to remove the pegboard. Underneath, you'll see the diffuser as well as 4 holes that you can use a pencil to mark the spots. Next, snap off the unit, which leaves you with only the gray mounting bracket left. From here, you can use the drill bit to make a hole at the 4 spots you marked. Insert your drywall plugs, reattach the main unit, screw things into the drywall plugs with the included hardware, and then tighten the pegboard back in place. Moving on to the shelf, and this is pretty similar to the pegboards. These can go anywhere you want, and I'll quickly show you the general idea. Let's say I wanted to put this between 2 panels. I'll snap off the top one, and the shelf can slide behind the bottom unit. I can mark out the 2 spots above, which I can then drill, use the drywall anchors, and secure the same way as the pegboards before reattaching the top panel. I won't be using the shelf in this setup, but I did test things out with the Kuroku figure without screwing anything in, and it held up just fine to the point where I would probably skip this step unless I was wanting to display something pretty heavy. And in my opinion, this product has to be considered the gold standard when it comes to installation, and I hope you're beginning to see just how much thought they put into all the little things prior to even turning on the lights. Once everything's plugged in, let's get it all set up. First, download and install the Nanoleaf app. On the top right, click the 3 dots and go to Add Device. You can scan the QR code on the front of the setup guide to begin the pairing process. It'll first have you put in your Wi-Fi information, assign it to a room or create new, give it a name. It'll automatically detect your exact layout and you can move it to the correct orientation, click finish, and you're all set. Now in the app, I'm under scenes right now where you can try out some of the ones I already have, or you can go to discover and download other ones that you want to try out. One of my favorite features on the app though is back in scenes, hit the plus icon and then paint. Scroll down and choose the color palette that you want to work with, or you can create a new one. After you found one that you like, you can then individually paint every single block to whatever color you want. When you have everything how you like it, you can hit save or begin to play around with the motion tab and animate different types of movement. And make sure to hit the settings for each movement because a lot of times you can adjust the direction of the effect as well as the speed and fade. Under motion, you also have the ability to choose different sound react animations. My favorite is the paint splatter, and this works extremely well in picking up my voice and changing the blocks simultaneously.
Testing. Check, check. Test, test, test. Hello? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Check, check, check.
Next, I want to highlight what a lot of people might not even know exists, which is the Nanoleaf desktop app for Windows or Mac. I downloaded and installed the program, and above and beyond being able to do all the same things that the app can do, this desktop version has some additional functionality that takes things to the next level. On the left-hand side, go into Orchestrator, then on the top right, under Devices, I'm going to select Blocks. Turn the Orchestrator feature on, then below Customize, I thought Energize was the best one, and then you can select the color palette that you want to use. What this does is capture audio being played through your computer and it'll have the blocks react in real time. This means that it doesn't matter how noisy of an environment you're in, the lights are only going to react to the sound coming from your PC and not the ambient noise in the room like a traditional mic will pick up. This is something they talked about in their live stream, and I can definitely say that whatever algorithm they're using, it's the best iteration of a sound react system I've ever seen in a plug and play setup.
Where the night feels still.
Now, I did want to quickly mention that I just started a Patreon account, and I want to thank all my supporters who help contribute directly to the channel. Every little bit helps me get closer to my dream of being able to make videos full-time, and your support means the world to me. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I'm truly blown away by your generosity. Another feature that I think will get used a lot is their AI-generated scenes. Just type in what you're going for, and it'll match the colors to what it feels best represents the prompt. It definitely nailed the neon lights look, and I followed it up by putting in autumn leaves, and again, it was exactly what I had in mind in terms of a color palette. From here, I'm going to start getting this set up back by moving the desk and reconnecting the PC and speakers. As I'm moving everything in place, I kind of thought this was going to happen since I didn't have much room to go higher with the blocks, but I'm not loving the location of the pegboards and controllers. This brings up another awesome example of the versatility of the plug-and-play system that they developed. All I have to do is take down the pegboard blocks and swap them to whatever spot I want to move them to, and if at any point I didn't like them here or wanted to move them again, I can do this all in a matter of minutes. So this next part is my absolute favorite thing about the blocks. Go back to the desktop app and click on gaming. From here, you'll want to adjust and resize the design and move it to the position on the rectangle which represents your PC screen to where you want it to mirror the colors. On the right hand side, I like the 4D settings the best, and once that's done, turn on the screen mirror functionality to begin. And it truly is amazing how dramatically this is able to change the feel of a space. I was completely mesmerized by this feature and went through many of my favorite background wallpapers, lo-fi channels, and different YouTube videos testing the functionality. My mind is already thinking how fun it would be to put these up all around a room, put on a lo-fi channel with some awesome background images, and relax as all the colors around me change to match the vibe. So that about does it for this one. I'll leave you with some final pictures and videos, but I did want to give a big shout out to Nanoleaf. This truly is a special product that's unlike anything else currently out there, and the attention to detail and execution is definitely appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and as always, I hope you have a blessed day.
Quiet streets where the night feels still. Echoes fade in the space we fill. Moonlight paints on the city walls. We're just shadows, but we stand so tall. Breathing